Hello, Socials and Stilettos family. Brittney here. For those of you who don't know me, I'm the CEO and head socialista of Socials and Stilettos. And I'm so excited because today is the day that we are going to be talking about how you can hack the Instagram algorithm in 2025. I am so excited. We have been working on this workshop for what feels like forever. And today's finally the day we get to kind of dive into things. So I'm going to go ahead and share and open this up a little bigger, hopefully. Let me see if I can hide this panel on the side. You can tell I never do this. So bear with me for the first one here. And we're going to go ahead and share this link. For those of you who are watching on the replay, make sure you hashtag replay. Okay, let me share this. Okay. Okay, we're good. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into this incredible workshop and all of the fun things. Hello, Nicole. So, like I was saying, we're talking about how to hack the Instagram algorithm. I'm hoping that this lets me move the slides here. Hold on, let me stop sharing the stream for just a second. Hi, Diana, welcome. Oh my goodness, all the girlies are here. I think I might need to here we go. Okay. Hopefully this is good. Hopefully this is going to work with us today. Let me try this one more time. Hold on and stop sharing. Let me see if I can make this a little larger and then reshare one more time. The theatrics of me figuring this out on live with you all, killing me right now. Okay. I think I'm going to have to do it in kind of a small screen. So I apologize, but we're going to go ahead and roll with it. Okay. Okay, here we go. Hacking the Instagram algorithm in 2025. So, like I was saying, for those of you who are just tuning in, my name is Brittney Megan. I'm the CEO and head socialista of Socials and Stilettos. We are a boutique style marketing agency that has been in the space since 2015 and have been slaying Instagram ever since. So, a little bit about me. Let me see if I can. Here we go. Okay. A little bit about me. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a lover of all things pink, hence the pink branding. I remember when I first started as a social media manager before Socials and Stilettos ever existed. And I was just kind of like learning how to be a social media manager online. Back in the day where I feel like everyone was also just starting to learn Instagram for business and what that meant. I was so worried about showing up authentically online as myself. And my original aesthetic or branding was very like boho chic to match what everybody else was doing. So this really looked like, having like a wide rimmed hat, like neutral colors. And I used to like dread showing up online because I felt like it wasn't the correct representation of myself and how I wanted to show up in the world. So it was like a really big, I want to say, risk for me to go against the grain and step into this world of socials where one thing was working and go against that and create an aesthetic and brand for myself that was hot pink and vibrant and girly and just dropping the F bomb in every single post. That when I did it, I was so surprised to see how many people just felt so inspired by that and wanted to really kind of like show up in this space and do the same thing. And since then, it's been really incredible because now we get to work with so many small businesses as well as Fortune 500 companies like Adobe that are our clients. And we get to really kind of have this unapologetic branding. And that's actually what makes us stand out and makes brands want to work with us. So before we jump into this actual workshop, I really wanted to tell this story because as we're jumping into Instagram and authenticity, I just want you to remember that being you is highly encouraged on Instagram and going against the grain and standing out. Like if somebody's doing one thing, don't be afraid to go against the grain and do something a little different because you'd be surprised how that works for you. I see a lot of comments in the chat. I can't read your comments just yet, but please leave them because we're going to go through them at the end. So any questions that you have, drop them in the chat and we'll get to them in a little bit. Another thing about me, I am a fur mama to Blue and Oliver. Blue is an 125-pound American bulldog who thinks he's human. Oliver is my cat who thinks he's a dog. It really is a madhouse up in here. I'm a Libra. I'm a Swiftie for life. We just calculated the other day that I have watched the Eras tour over 300 times. So anybody who is a Swiftie, drop a little star emoji in the comments. And my favorite platform is Instagram, if you haven't already been able to tell. Okay, so why Instagram in 2025? I feel like a lot of people don't realize that Instagram is something that, even though it might not be the first platform that people are going to consume content, it is the platform that people are going to go to stay connected with you. So whether we're talking about, Gen Z, and we have a lot of incredible Gen Z socialistas on our team, and although they might prefer TikTok, if you will, Instagram is still the platform that they're going to go to follow all of the brands that they love and creators that they love to keep up with the everyday. And I think it's because Instagram did such a great job with creating a platform that truly hits all the birds with one stone. Does that make sense? Hits every nail on the head, something along that lines. Hopefully you're picking up what I'm throwing down. But I call it an anchor platform. Like, between stories and being able to share that exclusive behind the scenes look at your life, to being able to do things like live streams or have a broadcast channel, or release exclusive content, there is so many different things that you can do on Instagram to just create a different experience for your community. And I think that's the reason why, no matter where people find you, they're always going to go to Instagram to stay connected with you, because they know that's where you're going to be every single day, rain or shine, whether you posted a new video on YouTube today or not, whether you posted something on TikTok or not. The way that people experience content through Instagram is just on a totally different level. Outside of that, and Instagram being an anchor platform, which is what I love to call, there is 1.5 billion users on Instagram. So your audience is 100% going to be here. It prioritizes short form video content and has so many different interactive features. And I think because of that, it just is the platform for engagement, whether that be through your story and people feeling like they have that one on one relationship with you, or a broadcast channel where they feel like they're in on a bigger secret. Instagram just has so many unique ways of creating engagement with your audience. And there's so many different tools. We have shops, ads, so many different features and tools that you can really use to grow your business. So let's talk about the algorithm. I think when people hear algorithm, they have like this big question mark of what that is, what it really means. Like, is it a computer? Is it a person? Does it really matter for your success? And I feel like the best way that I like to explain what an algorithm is it's basically a sequence of actions that Instagram is creating, leading to a different piece of content, or it controls kind of what your audience is seeing. So there is not one algorithm. There is actually hundreds of thousands of algorithms, and they are all so uniquely tailored to each person, which is why when you open your Instagram app, it's going to look so different than the way that mine does, because we each have our own unique algorithm. And what that means is that your audience also has its own unique algorithm that's monitoring the way that it interacts with content, that's monitoring the way that it stays on the app. Is it, somebody who's using the app that prefers Instagram lives? Is it somebody that's using the app that prefers educational content? Is it somebody using the app because they want to stay connected with their family and friends? And based off of those unique patterns that each person has, Instagram is kind of dictating what it's going to show that person at any given time. So the algorithm, in conclusion, it is more than one algorithm. And your audience's algorithm is going to have different key indicators of how things are shown to them. And the more that you kind of understand your audience, the way that they're showing up on this platform, and of course, how they're using the app, the more that you can kind of create things that they're going to want to consume, that are going to end up in their discovery feed, or that are going to end up, on their page in some way, shape, or form for them to connect with. So a couple of different things that are driving the Instagram algorithm is engagement. So, is your content boosting saves, shares, comments, likes. This is really kind of giving that aha moment to the algorithm when people are engaging with your content. Is it something that's valuable that's going to keep people on the platform longer? I want to marinate on that for a second. Is your content something that is keeping people on the platform longer? And when I say this, I want you to think about the last time you were scrolling on Instagram and you saw somebody's reel or post pop up that it just resonated with you so hard that you thought to yourself, I'm going to go and look at the other content they have available. And I'm telling you, this happens to me all the freaking time. And it literally drives me bananas because I get stuck in a scroll hole where I have like spent an hour and a half binge watching this creator or brand's content because it's so aligned to me. So I want you to really think about that and think and ask yourself, is your content in 2025, what has it been so far? Is it something that's bingeable? Is it something that, feeds into one another? Does it kind of do the same thing in different ways all the time? And I think, when I first heard the concept of creating content that is basically the same thing, but doing it a different way, I thought to myself, like, that's kind of boring. What why how like how do you make it different and not reinvent the wheel while still giving your audience something that is different, while still also like thinking to yourself like how to make it fresh and feel fun while still doing the same thing. And I think that's something that, if you prioritize that and if you really think about, okay, is there a theme amongst your content that creates consistency? I think some people get stuck on like that thought and think, okay, if I created a reel that shows a day in the life of an agency owner, or my go-to, date night makeup routine, and that blows off, that you have to do that exact concept again and again and again. No, but how can you recreate that with the same kind of formatting, because that's what's resonating with your audience, and boosting those, save, shares, comments, likes, while also doing it in a different way. So if it was a day in the life of an agency owner, that might be indicating like, hey, your audience really actually enjoys lifestyle content. And maybe the next post that you're going to create is, come to, San Francisco with me and let me show you a week in the life of somebody who's hosting a live stream with Adobe. Or if it was that date night makeup routine, maybe it's looking at that and thinking, okay, my audience really likes kind of like seeing again that lifestyle piece through their eyes, or like how to do a smoky eye if that worked for you. And you sell makeup products, maybe your audience is really looking for that education. So maybe that next post is not necessarily going to be how to create a smoky eye again, but maybe it's going to be how to create siren eyes, because now you know that that content is something that your audience is resonating with, and you can do it again and again and again and again in a different way, in a different format, with a different end result, but the formatting is kind of staying the same. The structure, I want to say, is kind of staying the same. So engagement definitely still matters, 2025. Relevance is also key. So making sure that your content's aligning with your audience's interests. And this is something that tends to be pretty hard for a lot of people. When you're creating something and, something might sound like an incredible, post to you. But my question is does your audience care about it as much as you do? And there's a lot of pieces of content that I have sent to the idea graveyard, because I just know that, as amazing as it is and how incredible that I think it is, I don't think that our audience is going to align with that piece of content the way that I do, or the way that I want them to. And this is where really understanding your target market and your audience and finding ways to seriously like prioritize their needs over your wants is going to really come into play. So if you haven't already, do your ideal client avatar, really figure out who your audience is. And actually, if you're looking for a resource, maybe Nicole, you can grab this if you're still online, from HubSpot. There is the avatar creator on HubSpot. It's a free resource. We used it all the time back in the day. So, Nicole, if you don't mind dropping that in the comments, that's a great resource for you to lean on, and it'll walk you through different questions or different prompts to kind of curating your target audience. And this is really going to help you understand like what relevance is going to play for your audience and like what they actually want to see on the platform. Consistency wins. So the algorithm also loves creators and brands who are creating regularly. You want to make sure that you are not just like flip flopping around and, you know, it's I'm going to get canceled for this. Like, I have such a controversial opinion on brands who, or creators who are social media experts that say post at a consistency that works for you. Because I'm telling you, even though you could do that, you need to be posting multiple times a day and different features on Instagram. So that could look like, 3 to 5 stories at a minimum, one feed post to be able to really curate that consistency on Instagram. And we're in this space now where the brands who are seeing the biggest growth are actually posting in their feed 3 times a day. And I know you might be thinking, like, oh my gosh, that is just like absolutely scaring the absolute SHIT out of me. Sorry for all the dings, by the way. My mother is texting me. You might be thinking, like, that's scaring the absolute SHIT out of me. But I'm telling you, like, there is a way to work smarter and not harder. And I think if you can put a bare minimum, I say bare minimum, but like if you can put that effort in to post once a day, Saturday to Sunday, Sunday to Saturday, whichever day of the week you want to go with, I think that you're going to see so much growth on Instagram this year. And there's a way to, repurpose your content. Don't be afraid to repost things. Like, your audience is always growing. So if somebody didn't see your content, 3 months ago, the chance of them binge watching it and seeing, like, yes, people do that. Like me, I'm crazy. I'm on Instagram all the time. Yes, people do that. But the chance of people even realizing with the level of content we're consuming every single day that you reposted something is literally slim to nothing. And even if they did, who cares? Maybe it's like sparking this idea to them that, oh wait, like that's totally right, I saw this before, and I meant to do that and I didn't, or like that was such a great reel that I saw before. So, consistency, don't be afraid to repost, don't be afraid to reformat. If something worked really, really well for you in a reel, maybe throw it in an infographic or carousel post, and it probably will perform just as well, if not better, because people have different ways of consuming content. You might be somebody who prefers to watch a reel, whereas I might be somebody who prefers to scroll through a carousel. So, making sure that you're meeting all those different kinds of ways that people like to consume content is going to be such a game changer when it comes to staying consistent and showing up every single day on Instagram. Another thing with the algorithm is that it loves when you use the new features. If it rolls out a new feature and you jump on it within the first couple of days, you are going to see a spike in your analytics, in the way that your audience is interacting with your content, because Instagram prioritizes accounts that are using all of the new features. So when broadcast channels came out, it was so much easier to grow a broadcast channel when the feature was first released than it is now. If you're looking at broadcast channels, and I'm not saying that to discourage you, I really think every brand should have a broadcast channel. It's such a great way to create closeness with your community. But I'm just saying, if, we could travel back in time and compare the same way of setting up a broadcast channel now versus when the feature first released, you would have seen like probably double or triple the amount of people joining your broadcast channel, and you would have seen a huge influx in your insights. So just keeping that in mind, like pay attention to new features that are getting released. And that's something with Socials and Stilettos we always make our goal to share with you and keep you up to date with these things. So if you're not in our broadcast channel, or if you are not already following us at Socials and Stilettos on Instagram, this is your sign. And last but not least, with this algorithm, before we jump into some really juicy tips, and I mean really juicy, like I hope you grabbed a snack, I want to talk about video. Video is still king. It's still the thing on Instagram that is keeping people in your content for the longest. And if we go back and circle back to that point that I made, that Instagram loves when you're able to keep people on the platform longer. Video is the best way to do that. So, making sure that you are prioritizing video content creation. If we look at being, a feed that's posting 7 days a week, 4 of those posts really should be video at a minimum. And, going live, hit the live button, connect with your community. If you're a small business that sells dog leashes and you can tell I'm thinking about my dog right now, right? If you're a small business that sells dog leashes, this is a great way for you to kind of like go live if you're packaging orders, answer some frequently asked questions, talk to your community about what's happening in the next couple of weeks with your business. Let them connect with you in live video, and video in general is the closest way for your community to be face to face with you. So if you can go live, it's going to create that sense of connection with your audience where they feel like it's unfiltered and they feel like they can have that real and raw connection with you. But even at that video, people can see your face, they can see your expressions. People love connecting with people. So the more that you can show your face, the better. Okay, so let's talk about optimizing your profile. And let's talk about this for 2025. And again, if you're leaving comments, I appreciate you and thank you so much for being here. Anybody that's tuning in, if you're leaving comments, I'm in a different screen, so I can't see them right now. But as soon as I stop sharing, we'll be able to jump back to the comments and answer any questions that you have. So don't be afraid to leave them there because I promise you we're going to have time to get to questions. Optimizing your profile. This is super important. A couple things like really have not changed. Your bio is still your elevator pitch. So don't forget to really use industry specific keywords and a call to action inside of your bio. And the way that you're going to really want to think about formatting this is that your nameplate, so you have your username at the top, then you have your nameplate, which is normally where you put your name in. Use that nameplate section to put your keywords in there. So, for example, if you're a lash artist based in York region, let's say, you want to use that nameplate section to its full potential, and you want to list in there York region lash artist, because by you doing that, it is kind of creating SEO amongst when people are searching for a lash artist on Instagram, that your profile is going to come up first. This has not changed. Instagram is still working on ways to really optimize like the SEO and how you're able to find people. There's really only a couple of places right now that you're able to kind of optimize that. Your nameplate is one of them. Like your bio really doesn't play into searchability as much as you think it would. It's that nameplate. So make sure that your keywords are listed in that nameplate section because that is how people are going to find you and boost visibility. The second thing is making sure that people like really know what you're doing. Your elevator pitch really should be your bio with right above where your link is going to be a call to action. That line right above, in your bio, right above where the link goes, right below it, use that as a way to tell people what is in that link. Are you accepting new clients? Put it there. Are you, having a sale currently on a certain service? Put it there. Like let people know what they're going to find when they click that link. Give them direction. People need us to tell them what to do on Instagram. Next is highlights. So make sure that your highlights are always up to date. One of my biggest pet peeves is seeing a profile who either number one has highlights that are so outdated. Don't look at ours because I promise you they are. It's always like one of those, the mechanic's car gets fixed last type of situation. We're working on it. But, if your highlights are not updated, it gives like this false indication that you're not current on socials. And people care about businesses who are showing up regularly because that's kind of like an indication that your business is open to public and ready to take new clients or ready to sell or whatever you're doing, right? So highlights up to date. Also your pinned posts. People really do care about that. I mean, I'm the first person to say if I go to somebody's pinned post and it's from like April of 2023, I'm like, girl, why? Like, repost it if you want the same information there, repost it, once a month, once every couple months, save it as a pin because people look for relevant things on Instagram. And you want to also make sure with your highlights, going back to that for a second, that they are strategic, that there's no fluff. Like, your behind the scenes should be strategic enough. If you have a behind the scenes highlight, that it shows people things that they would want to see happening behind the scenes. Okay. So, like, not just like your behind the scenes, and then you save like a picture of your coffee mug and you're like, good morning. And that's in your behind the scenes. Like, nobody cares about the fluffy stuff. So, make sure you're keeping it highly valuable in your highlights. The third point about your profile is aesthetics still matters. There is so much controversy around if you should be paying attention to your aesthetic on Instagram. And I really want to stress to you that if we take Instagram back to the platform that it originally was, it was an aesthetic platform for photographers to share their photos on socials. And no matter what you do, people still look for that aesthetic of Instagram. That's why we still have a grid there, because it's aesthetic, right? So making sure that you are sticking to your brand colors and fonts and you're keeping things consistent is going to make a big difference. Let's talk about content creation. So, when it comes to creating content in 2025, these are three things that you're going to want to keep in mind. Number one, storytelling should always come first. People connect with people. If you're going to share a reel that is you packaging an order, talk about an amazing story that happened with one of your customers this week. If you're going to, when there's this one brand, and I wish I could remember who it was right now, but one thing that they always do, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, you were so smart the way that you're creating this content, is they create sweaters where it embroiders your pet's face on the sweater just over to the side. And when she is showing her process to creating each of these crew neck sweaters, she's talking about the stories from her customers about their pets. And it just keeps you watching this content so much longer because even though, and again, going back to like formatting, even though the format and structure of her reel never changes, she literally always shows the same process with the same first clip, with the same, behind the scenes of her creating these sweaters. And you think it would get boring, but it doesn't because of that storytelling piece. So make sure that you're kind of prioritizing this in your content because it really does truly make a big difference. Value pillars. We know content pillars, which are going to be like your 3 to 5 topics that you're always filtering through. If you don't already have content pillars, this is your sign. You don't need them. I want to kind of say you really don't need content pillars. You also don't really need to niche. So that's a word that people get stuck on a lot. You really don't need to niche if you have a common theme. So content pillars plus niche can be eliminated if you have a theme. Okay. Keep that in the back of your mind if you're feeling like you're somebody who has many niches and many content pillars, and it's hard for you to stick just to that 3 to 5. Find a theme to connect all your content. Value pillars are totally different. You want to make sure that every single piece of your content is falling under one of the 4 value pillars to make sure that it's bringing some sense of value to Instagram. And again, the algorithm is going to prioritize that because if it's falling under one of these value pillars, people are connecting with it differently, engaging with it differently, and keeping them on the platform for longer. So you want to make sure it's either educating, entertaining, inspiring, or promoting something to your audience. And with promoting, I do want to stress this. No more than 20% of your content should be promotional. If you are going outside of that 20%, you're going to lose engagement with your audience. And that is going to impact the way that the algorithm pushes out your content because you're not seeing that engagement. And then number 3, use tools that help you work smarter and not harder. So, one of my favorite tools that I live, die, swear, and breathe by is Adobe Express, which And Adobe Express is such a great platform to create content on if you are a beginner. What I love about Adobe Express is it makes creating content within size guidelines for each platform really easy. You don't need to know, the 1080 by 1350 size ratio for, optimizing the feed. Like, it really does let you create without knowing all of those size guidelines, which simplifies your process. And, when you're going through the templates in Adobe Express, if you're somebody that is posting graphics, what's great is that all of those posts have been really curated in a way that those size guidelines are really kept in mind and everything's optimized for the platform that you're working on. Okay, let's go to engagement. So, engagement, I mean, let me just fix myself. We're really getting comfy. We're really having a girls' day here. Engagement. This is, so many different things. It is community building, it's community management, it is creating connection. Engagement sounds scarier than what it is. Really, what you want to just think about is being social on social media. So, if we look at the algorithm and how it's prioritizing engagement, it wants you to create content that encourages saves and shares. So, this is going to be your value driven content. This is going to be your educational, authoritative kind of content. So, your infographics, your tips, your relatable posts. When we talk about, saves, a lot of the time people will save content that they want to come back to later that's teaching them something. So if you think about the way that you save content, I can promise you, you probably have some recipes saved, right? Some hacks or tips on, I know for me, I have so many reels saved for my dog on like how to DIY make dog treats at home, or I have different Amazon like shopping lists, like cleaning routines saved, like so many different things that are like things that I want to come back to. So think of when you're thinking of your saves, you really want to, think about what can I create that gives people information that makes them want to save it for later? What can I teach them that they don't already know? And understanding your target audience is going to help with this. Now, on the flip side, the shares, this is going to be your relatable content. This is going to be the inspirational and relatable things that make people want to share it with their best friends or share it to their stories to inspire their audience. So, depending on your niche, it's going to look different for everybody. One of the best formats that we've seen recently rolling out on Instagram that everybody is kind of starting to follow in one way, shape, or form is like those reels where it's like, send this to your bestie and don't say anything. And then it just kind of like is something really inspirational and motivational. So, if you're thinking about how to grow your audience in 2025 and you want to take that format and make it work for you, like it doesn't necessarily always need to be surrounding your product or service to take that format. I think if you're somebody who, sells a makeup product, for example, it could be you applying the makeup product and saying something to an audience that you're trying to target. So let's say you're trying to target 20 to 25, year old females. Let's say you have your makeup product and you're applying it and you're talking about how, if you are not where you want to be in life and you're stressing out because all your friends feel like they're one step ahead of you, I'm here to tell you that it's okay. See, that kind of content, especially if it's in a Reels formatting where people can connect with people, you would be surprised how many people like share it out to their community or share it to their besties or tag a friend in the comments because it resonated with them. So shares is really going to be directly related to relatable content. And that also includes memes if you want to keep it simple. Call to actions you need in every single post. We are no longer doing the link in bio. If you are still saying head over to the link in my bio to XYZ, you are like living in 2023. All of last year and continuing into this year, we are prioritizing keyword comments. So you want to tell your audience to comment a specific word and then you directly message them or have a system like ManyChat directly message them that link to whatever it is that you're talking about. Call to actions do not always need to be, sending a link to somebody. It could be tag a friend, let me know your thoughts. It could be so many different things. So get creative with your call to actions, but every single post needs a call to action. And number three, respond to comments and DMs quickly. Like, don't leave people sitting there for forever. And don't ever leave a comment behind. I will say, like, this with a grain of salt, like, don't feel like if you are at a family dinner that you need to stop what you're doing to respond to a comment. No, don't put that pressure on yourself. It's unrealistic. And I'm going to tell you, I'm not even somebody who does that. So just make sure that you're being mindful. Like, try to post your content in a way that you know you have a little bit of time, whether that be half an hour and after, to kind of monitor comments as they're coming in. Or if it's something that you need to go back to later, that's okay. Just make sure every comment is getting a response. Reels, 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 which we already know video is king. So reels is still going to be like that main priority for a lot of accounts. There are accounts that all they post is reels. Reels is still going to be that thing that if I mean, I don't think there's one person who is not creating reels anymore. But if you are, girl, if you thought it was going away in 2025, you are mistaken. It is not. She is here. She is bigger and better than ever. And everybody is creating reels. So, what can I tell you about reels? Number one, trending audio does matter, but you want to make sure that you are being specific to your nation messaging. This means that not every trend is the right trend for you. So, be mindful and just make sure you're choosing audios that align with your community and that make sense for your community. The shorter the better. This is another thing. Like, unless you're posting an event recap or something that's talking to camera and it's a little bit more educational, the best reels are the ones that are between 7 to 15 seconds. So make sure that you're kind of staying in that range to really keep people engaged. We have, very short attention spans. So you want to make sure that you keep that in mind with your content, and always include closed captioning, like the words as you're talking popping up on screen. This is going to help with accessibility, which the algorithm loves when your content is accessible. But also, a lot of people watch and, pay attention to reels or consume content with their sound off, whether you're like at an event with family or you're in bed at night and you don't want like the audio just going and it's really loud. A lot of people are silent viewers. So if you can put the closed captioning on screen, people are not just going to like scroll past your content because they couldn't hear what you were saying, if that makes sense. A couple different features that you're also going to want to lean on in 2025 is still going to be your stories and stickers. Your stories is the place that people are going to connect with you on a more one-on-one level. The people that are paying attention to your stories are like your VIPs. They're your most engaged community members. Like, they really care. So you want to make sure that you are regularly posting in your stories and you're using stickers to boost engagement. This could be your countdowns, your polls, your quizzes, your questions, all of that fun stuff. Broadcast channels, which you heard me speak of, is also a feature that the algorithm is loving in 2025 because it really helps you create community. And that's what Instagram's goal is creating community. So, if you don't have the feature yet, let it roll out in its own time. Don't stress yourself out over it. But if you have that button allowing you to create a broadcast channel, let this be your sign, and maybe come up with a little bit of a content plan on how you can use your broadcast channel to kind of give your audience like exclusive behind the scenes content they're not getting anywhere else on your Instagram. It's also going to, help boost that closeness with your audience. So lean on that feature for sure. And then Instagram Insights. So tracking your analytics. Oh my goodness, I can't even speak. I was talking too fast. My brain couldn't catch up for a second. Track your Instagram analytics and insights. Look at what's working, what's not, and pivot fast when you notice something is not working. Like, I think one of the biggest mistakes you can make is if you're noticing that a certain type of content is not resonating with your community and you don't do anything about it and you still just keep posting just to post, you are really like missing out on an opportunity to let people connect with your content. Like, if it's not working, it's not working. Stop trying to make it work. You know what I mean? So that's what I will say when it comes to insights. Instagram's analytics are so great for you don't need to, invest in all of these crazy analytics softwares to figure out what's going on with your page. Like, you really can start with what Instagram is giving you, which is in your performance dashboard, really easy to find. And I'm telling you, like, just pay attention to what's working, what's not. Because if the algorithm is telling you something's not working in your insights and you keep doing that thing, let me tell you, the algorithm's going to be like, girl, absolutely not. You did not listen to me. And bye. And that's it. So make sure you're paying attention to that for sure. Okay, so now that we've kind of gone through all of the juiciness of 2025 and analytics and what you want to pay attention to, you might be feeling this. You might be feeling number one, like, holy crap, that was a lot of information, but also like there is so many trends and so little time and so many things are changing all the time on Instagram. And I don't know what to do from here. You might also be feeling a lack of clarity. Like this literally might have sounded like a bunch of gibberish to you. And you're like, wait a second, like, what am I actually supposed to be doing from here? You might feel a little uninspired and like, okay, my page is dead. How do I reboost it? It's like, what do I do from here? What are the things that I need to move forward with right now? And you might also be feeling like, that's great. I know what I need to do, but I still feel a little inexperienced. I don't, have designer copywriting in my zone of genius. And what do I do from here? And this is why I wanted to take this second to tell you guys about the Socialista Club, because it is like literally my baby. It is the girls and I have been working so hard on bringing this to you as an agency that works with so many different businesses of all sizes. One of the things that we hear the most is that people really want to grow on Instagram and you really want the support, but you're not in a space where you can make that kind of investment that comes along with hiring an agency. And that's exactly why we created the Socialista Club. This is a program that allows us to guide you while you're doing the work yourself and learning. So, a couple of different ways that the Socialista Club is really going to support you. And we put the QR code here. So if you want more information, you can go look at it. I think you got to scroll up a little bit so you get the QR code. Um, but monthly content calendars, these are things that our team has worked on specifically for businesses that are in the beauty, fashion, and lifestyle space, where it's not just a content calendar with ideas. I'm telling you, like, you need to see these content calendars because it is every single day a curated post that aligns with what's happening in the social world and trends that are working for businesses and brands that are really in the beauty, fashion, lifestyle space. And it is so in depth that you have the idea, but then you have a breakdown of how to film the content, how to, really bring that post to life, whether that be, if we say you're posting a meme, we're actually giving you the graphic for a meme so that you're not going through Instagram and going through platforms like Canva that are not necessarily going to give you things that are optimized for that specific post that we're telling you need, and having to like really recreate things in your own way, but like templates that have been made to match the type of content that you're being told to post. It literally takes the thought out of figuring out how to grow on Instagram or how to create consistency on Instagram or how to create content that aligns on Instagram. Besides that, like I was saying, editable templates are in there. We have monthly live strategy sessions that are so incredible, and it allows you to ask those burning questions and really get the support that you're looking for, and a community of ambitious women that are there to keep you inspired and accountable along the way. This looks like our Slack channel, which is so incredible as well. That's there for you to ask questions as you need. So if you're looking for information on that, scan the QR code. I'm here to answer any questions there as well. But most importantly, I really want to end this before I just take a peek to see if there was any questions in the chat on the simple fact that the Instagram algorithm is not your enemy. It really is a tool that you can master to help you grow on Instagram. So a reminder for this year, as you're kind of going through your social strategy, is consistent strategy and community is going to be the key to growth. So I hope that this was super helpful, and I hope that everyone feels super pumped up after kind of going through this. I am seeing so much love, you guys. This is so incredible. I'm like just seeing the chat now, so I'm going to scroll up. I want to take a second to say hi to Helen's Boutique, hi to Nicole, Kate, Eliza. We love Eliza. it's so many of you. So thank you so much for jumping in. So let's go ahead and go back up to the top. I didn't realize that we had to change YouTube to start chat. Sorry about that. This is our first time doing a live stream this way. So we're getting used to it. We'll be better next time. Other questions. Okay. So, what about creating new content for non-followers and publishing it with a new Instagram feature trial? So, trials, yes. So, this is definitely an option. Like, you can use the trial feature for real so that if you're somebody who is really worried about how your content is going to perform on socials, you can kind of post it in the trial, and Instagram will show it to anybody that is not in your audience so that nobody in your audience is seeing it before you can decide, is this something that's working for me? Is it creating the right response that I want? And then you can go ahead and publish it. Now, I'm going to say something that's very controversial here. Yes, trials being a new feature, like if you use it, you're probably going to see some sort of success with it. Do I think that you need to use trials or should be prioritizing using trials? No. And the reason I say that is because when your audience who's already connected and know, likes, and trusts you already sees your content, they're going to comment, they're going to support you if you've curated that sense of community with your audience. And the way that the algorithm works is that the more that it sees people interacting and engaging with your content, the more that it's going to continue to push your reel out to the community or to, the algorithm or your algorithm or people that have the types of content that you're posting in their algorithm. So my thought on this is, when people don't already know, like, and trust you, they're not as apt to comment on your content. And comments play such a big weight in the performance of content with the algorithm. So, my suggestion would be, if you're nervous about if your content is actually going to align with your community, it might be smart to go back and revisit who your target audience is and really nail that down. And then kind of like think to yourself before you post things, is this something that aligns with my community? If the answer was no, then don't post it. If the answer was yes, then post it. Then it would be to, let's say, use the trial feature. But I do also understand that a lot of people really do prioritize, or really they do care about the types of content that they're posting. And they're worried that if they post it to their audience, they don't necessarily know if they want people to see it and it flops. But again, that's something that I say, don't let it hold you up. We didn't have the trial feature until recently, and I think you're okay not to use it, if that answers the question. Thank you so much, Nicole, for putting in the link to the HubSpot avatar generator. I appreciate you. Do you feel that if you go live, it reaches new followers? Absolutely. It's interesting with lives, how that works. I do feel that anytime that we've gone live on Instagram in the past, and for those of you who are brand new here and haven't seen, we have a Level Up live stream series on the Adobe Live Instagram as well that I host every single week. It's interesting to see how, like, your live will bring in people that have never seen your content before. I don't exactly know on the back end how that works, but I will say it does. It does really boost your views and brand awareness and reach on Instagram for sure. Okay, amazing. Favorite makeup brands? Yes. Okay, so I don't think that I see any other questions. Mandy, thank you for joining in. I really have loved having you all here. And I want to say thank you so much once again for being here. And, here at Socials and Stilettos, we really look for ways to support our community. So our DMs are always open. If you have a question, drop it in there. And if it's not myself you're chatting to, you'll be chatting with Nicole, who's our operations manager, or one of our incredible socialistas. Thank you so much for tuning in once again. Remember that you are beautiful, confident, capable, and worthy of whatever your heart desires. And I can't wait to see how you all are going to slay the Instagram algorithm in 2025. You got this, and we will see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.